Have you ever stopped to realize how much of your suffering comes not from the world itself, but from the way you choose to see it? This is the very heart of Stoicism, a philosophy that doesn't whisper sweet comforts, but rather confronts you with the truth. Life is difficult, unpredictable, and fleeting. But your mind has the power to transform how you experience it. Imagine Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man on earth, Emperor of Rome, writing in the quiet of his tent while war raged around him. He did not write about conquest or power, but about controlling his mind, about remembering that death comes for us all, and that peace is found not in circumstances, but in perspective. This is why he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Now consider how this plays out in your daily life. You cannot control whether people insult you, betray you, or ignore you. You cannot control whether the economy crashes, whether storms destroy cities, or whether illness knocks on your door. Yet you can always control your response. Most of us waste decades wishing the world would bend to our expectations, when true freedom is learning to bend ourselves to reality. Seneca reminds us, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Think about that. How often do you rehearse tragedies that never occur? You play them in your head, you magnify them, and by doing so, you live through pain twice, once in your fears and once in reality. A Stoic sees this trap and refuses to step into it. Instead of saying, "Why me?" they say, "Why not me?" Instead of asking, "When will this end?" they ask, "How can I endure with dignity?" And endurance is the key. Life will not reward you for complaining. It will not pause for your grief. It moves forward regardless of whether you crumble or whether you rise. Stoicism trains you to rise. This does not mean becoming emotionless. It means refusing to be owned by your emotions. It means remembering Epictetus's lesson. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Every challenge is an invitation to strengthen your will. Every insult is a chance to master your anger. Every setback is training for your resilience. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you step into the calm center of the storm, untouchable by chaos, guided by reason, steady as a rock in crashing waves. But Stoicism is not just about surviving storms. It is about living wisely every single day. Too often, we live as if we have endless tomorrows, as if time is a renewable resource. Seneca, in his brilliant work on the shortness of life, wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. We waste time scrolling endlessly, chasing possessions we do not need, comparing ourselves to people who are just as lost as we are." Imagine if you could stand outside your life and see how much of it has already slipped away in distraction. The Stoics urge us to live with urgency, not in panic, but in awareness that every breath is borrowed. Marcus Aurelius woke up each day reminding himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This is not meant to depress you, but to sharpen you, to make you realize that your petty arguments, your endless worries, your obsession with status are illusions. Death will come whether you are rich or poor, whether you are loved or hated, whether you win or lose. And because of this, true freedom comes when you stop living for applause and start living in alignment with virtue. Virtue to the Stoics was not abstract. It meant courage, justice, temperance, wisdom. Courage to face what frightens you. Justice to treat others fairly no matter how they treat you. Temperance to control your desires instead of being enslaved by them. Wisdom to choose correctly, even when the easier road calls. These are not ancient relics. They are as urgent today as they were 2,000 years ago. Ask yourself, do I control my temper, or does it control me? Do I chase pleasures that weaken me, or do I practice restraint? Do I treat others with fairness even when I gain nothing? Do I pursue knowledge, or am I content with ignorance? The world may celebrate wealth, beauty, or fame, but the Stoics celebrate 80's only virtue, because those are the only treasures that cannot be taken from you. Money can vanish. Reputation can be destroyed. Youth will fade. But character endures. Epictetus himself was born a slave, beaten and mocked. Yet he became one of the greatest philosophers in history. Not because life spared him suffering, but because he mastered his response to it. He reminds us, no man is free who is not master of himself. If you want freedom, you will not find it in possessions or approval or power. You will find it in self-mastery. And this is why Stoicism still speaks to us today. It teaches us to build a fortress of character within, a fortress that no misfortune, no betrayal, no storm can ever tear down. Now let us speak of the silence and stillness that the Stoics cherished, the inner calm that becomes your superpower. In our age of constant noise, notifications buzzing, opinions flying, endless arguments, it is easy to lose yourself in chaos. But Epictetus would remind his students that not every insult requires a response. Not every attack requires a defense. Sometimes silence is strength. Seneca once observed, "It is better to conquer grief than to deceive it." And what is grief but the refusal to accept reality? When you practice Stoic silence, you stop wasting energy on battles that do not matter. You choose peace over proving yourself right. You realize that dignity is not won through shouting, but through composure. Marcus Aurelius himself, surrounded by senators who schemed against him and generals who betrayed him, rarely lashed out. Instead, he practiced restraint, journaling at night to remind himself that other people's actions were not truly his concern. He wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Imagine applying that in your own life. When insulted, you do not mirror pettiness. When provoked, you do not descend into rage. When ignored, you do not beg for attention. Instead, you remain steady, calm, and dignified. This is not weakness. It is the deepest form of strength. Because the truth is, no one can humiliate you without your consent. No one can take your peace unless you hand it over. The Stoic learns to guard the gates of their mind as fiercely as a fortress guards against invaders. And the reward for such discipline is priceless. Unshakable peace. This is the end game of Stoicism, not merely to endure, but to flourish, to live with serenity in a world that will always be chaotic. So when you wake tomorrow, ask yourself, will I waste this day in anger, fear, distraction? Or will I live it with virtue, with calm, with gratitude? Remember, you control nothing beyond your thoughts and actions, but within that small circle lies immense power. You can choose to face hardship with courage, to treat others with justice, to restrain your desires with temperance, and to sharpen your mind with wisdom. You can choose to practice silence instead of endless argument, gratitude instead of resentment, resilience instead of despair. This is the path of the Stoic, not an escape from reality, but full engagement with it, guided by reason and anchored in virtue. If you walk this path, you will not just survive life's storms, you will stand unshaken, like a mountain, calm above the tempests of fate. And perhaps the greatest victory of all, you will learn to live, truly live, in every fleeting moment you are given,